Bob, thank you very much for coming to our studio.
Sure.
We are very happy that you are here.
Thanks to have me.
Good. So let us start with a very interesting question in construction industry. Generally, we start with groundbreaking and architectural rendering and plans and all those things. I want to start towards the end.
Okay.
What I have heard from you, you call it the punch list.
Right.
So, what is this punch list? Tell us about that.
So the punch list is it's the list of deficiencies at the end of the project that the architect and or owner want us to correct in relationship to what the specifications were and what the quality is. So it's a list of blemishes, equipment that isn't operating correctly, doors that aren't closing correctly, blemishes in the drywall and painting, blemishes in the in the flooring if there are any. So it's an assembly of deficiencies in the final product when you're getting ready to deliver it to the owner and the architect.
So, who is really responsible for managing this punch list?
Good question. So uh, ultimately, the contractor is responsible for managing that list. I look to the entire team to manage that list. If I'm the architect or the owner and I see a deficiency that I'm not satisfied with, I ask them to make it part of their responsibility to say, look, I just came across this deficiency. I want to point it out to you so you can correct it now as opposed to wait to the end of the project and fix it later.
In 25-year history of Senate construction, what is the funniest problem you have seen in the punch line? Can you think of anything?
Oh boy.
That was
Oh.
crazy.
Well, I'll tell you one that I was really, we, it wasn't on the punch list because we took care of it before it was on the punch list. But one, I'll tell you my most frustrating one was that I had a client who was a very good client, continues to be a good client, and he would come on the job site and there was one bolt that was in the wrong location and it drove him crazy. And he would come to the job site and he would point out that the bolt hadn't been fixed. Well, that went on for 6 weeks. And I finally said to the superintendent, what don't you get? This is our client. It obviously bothers him. I know that in our terms, from our perspective, it's easily fixed and we don't, we can do it at any time, but it's a priority for our client. So let's get that thing fixed so he doesn't have to come back and get frustrated that we haven't fixed it yet. So that's an example of a punch list item. It was easily repaired. It only took about 15 minutes to fix, and it's something we should have done immediately when he pointed it out. So I'll tell you that's my most frustrating punch list item. As far as funny punch list items, I really can't think of any. I don't take, from my standpoint,
Okay.
I take quality very seriously, and if there's a deficiency, no matter how peculiar it might seem, to me it's important business. So I don't take them very lightly.
So, how, in overall, now it leads to the next question is in overall construction, how important is the synergy, the coordination, the cooperation among all these players in the construction game? And who are the main players, you think?
Okay, that's a good question. So, Upendra, you know that that I look at construction as a team process, and I'll compare it to the Patriots because I love the Patriots' business model. Not so much that they're a successful team, but nobody is bigger than the team in the Patriots. And there's a synergy that exists there that if you're on the team, you want to be part of that program and you want to be a winner. In the construction business, it's the same. We all have to get along. We're all part of a team, and the more that we cooperate and collaborate, the better it is for all of the players. It's more efficient. We save time. We save money, and we deliver a very good quality product in a timely fashion to our client when everybody's collaborating and cooperating. So who are the team members? It's certainly the owner is the primary team member, the architect, the engineers, the contractor, in particular their construction manager and their project superintendent. It's imperative that everybody work together and collaborate to meet the ultimate goal, and that's to deliver that top quality product to your client and in a timely manner in the most efficient way you can.
Now, another question for you is, as the construction project starts, and also we often see that some of the cost of the project, because it takes longer time, becomes sometimes an issue between the architect or general contractor or the owner, and there's some dispute there. Mm-hmm. How to avoid the issue of cost in large building projects?
How do we manage that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, at the initial stages, we establish what we consider the budget. And we like to partner with clients because it enables us to help identify that target, that budget, and help keep it within the guidelines and limitations of what the client's willing to deal with. And the majority of that is identified, or the ability to generate savings or to identify cost opportunities is 80% of that is during the design stage. Mm-hmm. It's been documented, it's proven. If you do any do any research with the Lean Construction Institute, they've identified that the area that you can generate the most cost savings is not during construction, but it's in the planning stages. It's in the design stages. So if we get involved early, the way we manage that budget is by making periodic checks on the various stages of the design. So we establish a budget up front. Then the architect and the designers, the engineers prepare a schematic design. We do a budget on that. We take that budget and we evaluate what they're proposing. We recommend alternative systems to help save money in some cases, but we also evaluate life cycle on systems. We might recommend that this system may be more efficient over the period of the duration of the building because the payback is 3 or 4 years. So we want to do an analysis on the life cycle of that system and the payback on that system. So it's not always about saving the bottom line, it's about delivering the most efficient value to the client. And we do that by periodic checks. After the schematic design, we go to we go from conceptual to schematic. Then we go to a 60% set of construction drawings, in which point we do another check on the budget. It's checks and balances, right? So we'll evaluate the project and the drawings. We'll put in a revised budget based on the more current design, and we'll make recommendations to help save money and or deliver a better system in collaboration with the engineers and the architect. And finally, when we get to the end, we're all shooting for the same target. We'll evaluate the final set of drawings. We'll make some recommendations if necessary. But the goal here is that when we deliver a final set of drawings in collaboration with the design team, that we've met our budget and we've delivered the most efficient building we can.
Now, the real estate industry has really come back very strongly. A lot of demand for construction and real estate. A lot of buildings are going up now. Mm-hmm. A lot of in the planning stage.
Yeah.
So how the average cost of construction materials is playing in the game?
Well, we're starting to see some. It's a good question. It's hard to predict. Just as an example, I recently received notification from the concrete industry that imports of fly ash, which is a component of concrete, has been restricted or limited, and there's a delay in the delivery. So they're looking for alternative materials, but obviously supply and demand come into play, so That's going to drive concrete up, for example. The demand of lumber, as another example, has been very low because of low housing starts. And we're starting to see lumber go up as a result of a higher demand, higher number of housing starts. Steel has the steel has constantly gone up even through this most recent recession, because steel plant manufacturers have reduced their capacity by shutting plants down to about 50% capacity. So in fact, steel through this past recession has gone up over a period of time, has gone up significantly. So we haven't seen, even though inflation has been fairly low, the construction materials, obviously are affected by supply and demand. So we're going to see an increase in material prices as the demand goes up.
What about the labor costs?
Labor costs have been fairly flat, although again, I think we're going to be facing a labor shortage in trades and in particular trades where there's been a lack of interest in the next generation. The next generation in our country has been enamored by higher education, and they're going on to universities, and they're not interested in becoming tradespeople. So the fact that the industry lost 37% of the market also was a factor, because there were no jobs. So we're going to have to do a better job of attracting new people into the labor community and the trades community, and we're going to have to do a better job of training them. And we're going to have to make it an attractive and appealing opportunity. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck. Now, one way where that's been addressed is through immigration. We're seeing a strong influence of immigration, tradespeople coming into our industry, but I don't know that it's going to be enough.
What is your prediction about this upswing? How long do you think it's going to go?
Well, my plan is to, I'm projecting, and it's not me, everything I'm reading is projecting we expect about a 5-year window. And I mean, if you look at history, if you look at the ebbs and flows of the industry, and our economy as a whole, I mean, generally they come in 10-year windows, 7 to 10
Well, that used to be that. The cycle used to be 10 years, but now that cycle is reducing, 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, 7 years.
That's true. That's true. So I'm predicting 5.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on that, but I'm hoping that we'll have about a 5-year window where things will be. I don't think they're going to be I don't think we're going to see the booms that we've seen in the past, but I think we'll see a nice steady growth rate over the next 5 years.
Bob, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, Upendra.
Nice.
Yeah.